I carried my son on my shoulders the last mile back to camp, his tiny fingers tangled in my hair, his head resting against mine. I hummed, soft and low, not because I knew the tune, but because it was the only thing I could think to do to distract him from the hollow ache in his stomach. He hadn't eaten since the morning. Neither had I. When we reached the clearing, I knew something was wrong. It hit me like the absence of breath in winter, sudden and sharp. The campsite was stripped bare. No tents, no cars, no people. Just a weathered picnic table and a single note weighed down by a stone. 7 words, scrawled in familiar handwriting. This is for the best. Trust me, it was Elise's, my wife, my partner of 10 years. The woman I built a life with. She left that note like it was nothing, like it wasn't a death sentence. We weren't broken. That's the part that haunted me the most. We weren't fighting, not really. She was beautiful. Still, sharp-minded, a little colder than she used to be, but that happens after a decade. You stop saying everything. You start assuming the other person already knows. We had a son, Leo, 10 years old, bright, endlessly curious, the kind of kid who still thought his mother's voice was the closest thing to a god. Elise had planned the trip, a casual getaway with her old college friends, some of whom had kids of their own. She'd sold it like a reunion, something light, something normal. I didn't question it. I said yes. Leo needed the woods. I needed the silence. That morning, she kissed me. Not a quick peck, not a distracted goodbye. It lingered, too soft, too long. It felt like the last line in a book I hadn't realized was ending. But I didn't say anything. I kissed her back. When we found the camp abandoned, I told myself it was a mistake. Maybe they went hiking. Maybe a prank. But the fire pit was cold. The tire tracks in the dirt were fresh. The food supply was gone. The backpacks, too. Even Leo's asthma medication vanished. And then the note. This is for the best. Trust me. 7 words. 7 knives. All perfectly aimed. Leo asked where she went. I lied. I told him she wanted to get more supplies, that she'd be back by dinner. He nodded and believed me. Because he was 10. Because he had to. That night he curled against me, his breath thin and raspy, ribs like fence posts beneath my palm. I cried in silence. So he wouldn't hear, so he wouldn't know the truth, that we'd been left to die. On the 3rd day, I stopped waiting. I started planning. I made us a shelter. I boiled moss for tea. I carved bark to catch rain. I trapped squirrels and roasted them over what little flame I could coax from damp wood. I kept him warm. I kept him alive. That part wasn't heroic. That was just instinct. But I never let him see the desperation behind my eyes. To him, it was an adventure, a secret between father and son. He believed we were playing. When I finally got a cell signal on day 10, I didn't call emergency services. I called my lawyer, because I knew what Elise had done. She wasn't just cruel. She was calculated. A week before the trip, she drained our joint account. She'd told friends I was unstable, paranoid, even dangerous. She said I might run, take our son, disappear. She filed a missing persons report after she abandoned us. She thought she was clever. But I knew better. I needed proof. I needed patience. I needed the story to grow in their heads without my interruption. So I waited 3 more days before I staggered us into the nearest ranger station. Clothes torn, shoes ragged, face hollow. I gave them a show. The grieving father. The miracle. The survival. They believed every word. I didn't tell Elise we were alive. Not yet. My lawyer subpoenaed the bank transfers. Got hold of GPS data. Pulled the burner phone records. She had texted her friends the day she left. It's done. Her friend Kayla was the first to break. Guilt and wine don't sit well together. She confessed everything in a rambling email. I BCC'd it to Elise's employer and the police. Turns out the plan was simple. Let the wild finish the job. Starvation. Exposure. Predators. They didn't care how. We just had to disappear. Leo was her bargaining chip. Her leverage. A grieving mother earned sympathy. A dead husband, less questions, more freedom. Money. Custody. Clean slate. Her friends? They were in on it. They believed her stories. That I was losing it. That Leo wasn't safe with me. That something had to be done. So I sent them a picture. Not of me, of Leo. Smiling, holding a newspaper, cheeks flush with life. Just a reminder, ghosts don't stay dead forever. When I finally stood in front of her door, I waited before knocking. I wanted her to feel peace, just for a few seconds longer. She opened in her robe, mascara smeared, hair tied back. She froze, eyes wide. She saw my face, then looked behind me. "Where's Leo?" she asked, voice cracking on the edges. "He's safe," I said. "He still asks why you left." She reached for me. I stepped back. "Don't." The silence landed like a hammer between us. Her breath caught. Her mouth trembled. "It wasn't supposed to go that far," she whispered. "They said you'd just get scared. You'd come back." I smiled. Not kindly, just enough to show teeth. "You left your son in the woods to die," I said. "You let him fall asleep hungry on my chest and wake up coughing from the cold. You stole his medicine. You gave him to the dark." She didn't respond. She didn't have to. The cops arrived 10 minutes later. I'd already sent them everything. Her emails, Kayla's recording, the note, the bank logs. She hadn't noticed the camera Kayla left in the corner of the tent. It caught the whole thing, her laughing, planning, handing out supplies. She screamed when they cuffed her, said she was manipulated, said she was scared, said she was the victim. I didn't flinch. I'd run out of mercy long before. Kayla took a deal. The others turned on each other. Elise got the worst of it. Attempted murder, child endangerment, conspiracy. Leo believes his mother left because she got sick. Maybe in a way that's true. There's a sickness that eats you from the soul outward. I saw it in her eyes when they took her away. I moved us far. New state, new name, new life. Leo's in school now. Has friends. Laughs more. Every night, I double-check the locks. Not because I'm scared. Because I know what it's like to be hunted. Because once you survive the wild, part of you stays there. Sharp. Watchful. Ready? Sometimes Leo asks if we'll go camping again. I smile and say maybe, but I know we won't. Not for a long, long time.